for inviting me, Rob, and thanks everyone for attending. And in this talk, as Rob said, I'll be talking to speakers, and I'll be arguing against this idea of native speakerism, and I'll explain how it had a very, I'll explain that how native speakerism has had a very negative effect on ELT industry as a whole, especially as far as hiring policies are concerned. And so I'll argue for an industry, for ELT profession that values professionalism, experience, qualifications rather than a mere accident of birth or the teacher's L1. And I'll start off by explaining some of the key terms, and then I'll show you a typical job ad, and then I'll spend the rest of my presentation talking about different ways in which you, individuals in ELT, can get involved to promote equality and equal opportunities in ELT. So just to start off, here are some of the key terms: NES, native English speaker, and NS, non-native English speaker. I do acknowledge that there are problems with these terms, and they have been quite widely criticized in the literature for sort of being very divisive, black and white, antagonistic, and not really reflecting the diversity and variety of the English language and its speakers. So, however, I'm still going to use them here because they're the best labels really that we have, and they're widely used both in professional and popular sort of ELT and second language acquisition discourse. And so in the title of my presentation is Let's Act Against Native Speakerism, and that's a term coined by Holiday. He wrote an article in 2006 for ELT Journal entitled Native Speakerism, and he explained that there is this pervasive and widespread ideology in ELT that he called native speakerism, in which native English speaker embodies the ideals of the English language and of English language teaching methodology, and therefore is considered the ideal teacher. As I said, native speakerism has had a very profound negative effect really on ELT, especially as far as hiring policies are concerned. And I've got a typical job ad here for you that I downloaded from TEFL.com in May this year. And as you can see, the school is very proud that they're recruiting native English teachers only for the school. And apparently, to be a teacher in that school, you don't really need to like teaching English or be passionate about the language. You should like long afternoon walks, and you should like reading or watching endless amounts of films as well, and be an aspiring writer. And if you look at qualifications, right down at the bottom, no qualifications are required, right? Teaching English is not really rocket science, is it? I mean, anyone with a genuine interest, as long as they are a native English speaker, can teach English, right? So this is the idea, how native speakerism has sort of permeated into hiring policies, and such ads are very common. It's not just a one-off. In general, research shows that about 3/4 of all job ads are for native English speakers only. And being a native English speaker is even considered a qualification. Mind you, I haven't yet seen a degree in nativeness, but if there is one, please do let me know. And only, if you look at the third point, only 14% of job ads list experience or qualifications as a necessary requirement, which really goes against the whole idea of professional development, of qualifying, of improving, and of teaching and learning, really. And very often, recruiters will tell us that it's the student's fault, that, well, it's the market demand. I'll be very quick here. It could take a whole lecture, but basically there's no evidence really in literature that students want native English speakers at all costs, regardless of everything else. Students are not that stupid. They do acknowledge and appreciate different strengths and weaknesses that each group brings into the classroom, and so they might prefer, for example, a native English speaker, let's say for pronunciation, but for other things they might prefer a non-native English speaker. And they do acknowledge qualification, experience. So researchers have suggested that the ideal situation really is for a school to hire both native and non-native English speakers, so the students can benefit from both, and also the teachers can learn from each other. And very often, quite a lot of people in the industry, I think, say that it's not really possible to change this. It's too deeply ingrained and too widespread, and there's nothing really that we can do about it. You're just banging your head on a brick wall, really. But I do think that each of us here as an individual in ELT has a responsibility to act against discrimination and inequality. And native speakerism will only survive if it's constantly reinforced through such job ads, through professional ELT and popular ELT discourse as well. And as teachers, we do control what's happening in our classrooms, and we can talk to our students, we can talk to our recruiters, and we can act against native speakerism. And this is really what I'm hoping to persuade you to do, to take some action as an individual. And the first thing that you can do is give a quick webinar like this one, present at a conference, maybe give a workshop at your school. If you're not feeling confident yourself, you can suggest it to whoever is in charge of professional development in your school. You can write a blog post for TEFL Equity or for your own blog. You can write an article for a newsletter or a research paper. You can also talk to your students. I think that's really important as well. Challenge them what are the qualities of good teachers. Is being a native English speaker, that's important. And there are other qualities that are also important. Talk to your teacher trainees, if you're a teacher trainer, about this problem. Bring up the issue of ELF, English as Lingua Franca, World Englishes, and there are many other things that you can do as individuals. And I think if we all act together, native speakerism will go away one day. And I think there are numerous benefits of getting rid of this divisive ideology of native speakerism. I think what it has done, it has really polarized the discourse. We are divided into two separate species, native and non-native speakers, and I'm hoping that one day ELT profession will start valuing us for who we really are, and we are all English teachers, regardless of our nationality, race, gender, and regardless of our first language. Your first language doesn't really make you a good or a bad teacher. It's as irrelevant as the color of your hair, I think. And what we really need to do is foster cooperation and collaboration between teachers. There's plenty that we can all learn from each other, whether you're a native speaker or a non-native speaker, or neither really, because the terms aren't very good either. Just to finish off, I hope that with this very short presentation I've persuaded you that there are plenty of things that you can really do to act against native speakerism and to tackle this problem. Perhaps one thing that I didn't mention is when you see such ads like the one that I showed you at the very beginning, the simplest thing you can do is just send a couple of lines to the recruiter. I've done that hundreds of times, and believe it or not, there are a lot of recruiters actually reply to you, especially if you use arguments such as the fact that it's illegal in the EU to advertise for native English speakers only. And the recruiters do reply, and it takes you 5 minutes to reply to such an ad and just send an email, and that's it really. So I hope that one day ELT profession will stop being so divisive, and will put more emphasis on professionalism, experience, qualifications, and will value us for who we really are, that is, English language teachers. And this is my contact details. Get in touch with TEFL Equity Advocates. I'll be really happy to publish any new blog posts and articles on there, and I'm on Twitter as well. You can send me an email, and here are some of the references.